Oh, hey there. Welcome to Starcaster Remarks. My name is Ryan, alongside my brothers, Chris to my right, James to my left. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THPN. Go and use that promo code THPN the next time you go and use Raycon and DraftKings Sportsbook. Thank you for being our sponsors to those two companies. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this fine Wednesday evening?
I mean, if there was a tier list for worst opening sentence on Sarcastic Remarks history, that one's got to be up there, I think.
I've done it before, haven't I?
I don't recall.
Really? I swear I've done it before.
I don't recall.
Anyway, I was watching the Oilers Seattle game, and Seattle was up 3-1 with like 5 minutes left. They let one in, and then they let one in with 1 minute left, and then the Oilers won it in overtime. And Patrick Kane scored every single one of those goals. Kane just got a hat trick to win for the Oilers.
Evander Kane.
Sorry, yeah, Evander.
Yeah, don't
Oil's
be starting
back,
rumors.
baby.
You knew what I meant.
Oil country.
Yeah. So now, let me ask you this: is that indicative of how desperate the Oilers are for a win right now, or is it that's exactly how bad Seattle is playing right now?
It's a bit of both, because that was like, Seattle took a book out of the Canucks page from last year. I got there.
Good enough.
I saw your face when you said book, and you were like, "Oh crap, I screwed it up."
Yeah. Anyway, you remember when the Canucks were losing all those 2-goal leads last season, and everyone was laughing at them because they couldn't hold a lead? That's what the Kraken are doing this year. So
some could say there's a crack in their defense.
Okay, well, I've completely forgotten about Ryan's opening sentence, and now I'm focused on Chris's.
Oh boy, we're firing all on cylinders so far.
Wow, it's almost like we're
Every single one
tired
of
or
us.
something. All right. Anyways, as we move on from the most awkward opening segment I think any of us have ever done. Yeah, I see even Zach over here in the comments is like ... Not 3 dots, 4 dots. That's how bad it is.
We should
That's
just
excessive.
cut it all out, you know?
Okay, all right, let's just restart. Okay,
We
welcome
don't
back.
do these
No, I'm just
live.
kidding.
We don't
Do
do
we-
these live, right?
Okay. Anyways, guys, thank y'all for joining us on our Wednesday night episode. This is going to be our last Wednesday night episode, as we will be moving to Sunday nights starting not this Sunday, but the Sunday after Thanksgiving. We'll get into that a little bit as to why we're doing that a little later in the show, but we got some stuff to talk about, you guys. There's a couple of things I kind of want to hit on the NHL side, and then we'll get to some Dallas stuff kind of sprinkled in as we go. We'll just see where the conversation kind of takes us here this evening. But we kind of already brought it up, so let's go ahead and continue with that conversation about the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers in the national news spotlight for the past probably 3 weeks, maybe even a month now. Probably one of the worst starts we've seen by a very promising, aka cup contending scene team that we've seen in a very long time. So I think at one point they were 2-9-1. They were the 31st ranked team in the standings. It's gotten better now. I believe they're on a 3-game winning streak now.
2-game winning streak. Yeah, they're winning tonight.
Tonight, yeah. So yeah, so right now it's 3, and it probably shouldn't be 3, honestly. Any other team, and it's other than the Kraken, and it's probably still staying at 2. But anyways, guys, they suck. They can't get any goaltending. They send Jack Campbell down. As much as I love the guy, he just can't play goalie to save his life in the NHL right now, or the AHL, I guess, according to Mato over in the comments. He had a 8.26 in the NHL, which is abysmal, and it hasn't gotten better in the AHL. I think in the AHL,
it's better. I think he's like 8.60.
Oh, that's so much better.
That was a good one, Chris.
Anyways, it gets so bad to the point they send him to the AHL. They call up Calvin Pickard, who has been a fringe NHL goalie for most of his career, but I mean they can't do much worse than Skinner and Campbell right now. And then it gets so bad to the point that they decide to change their coach, Jay Woodcroft, who had an excellent record with them, and everybody around the organization that covers the team saying it's not his fault. I mean, like, why change the coach? So,
Yeah.
what are y'all's thoughts? What have you seen?
You can't have a start like that and then not do anything. I mean, you can't. I mean, they already tried sending Campbell down to the minors. That was like the biggest thing that they could think of doing, and he did worse, honestly. And now you're sitting here with the team that is 32nd in the league, and you're like, what do I do? This team should have been. I mean, they could have, should have, would have gone all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals last year, bar beating the Golden Knights, who were just on one with Aiden Hill. I mean, and then they start like that. Like they started like the San Jose Sharks, who all of us were laughing at and being like, "Yeah, they can't get a win. They lost 2 games in a row where the other team scored 10 goals, and you lost to the Sharks."
Yep.
You can't do that.
And we talked about it a lot last season. When the going is bad and you got to change something, one of the easiest things to change is the coach. Doesn't affect cap space. The only thing it affects is literal dollars. And this is professional sports. They got dollars to go around. So may not have been his fault, but you still got to do something.
I still don't agree with it. I mean, you could point at it and say that, firing the coach has kind of sparked this 3-game winning streak, but still, man,
played the Kraken twice.
Did also play the Kraken twice.
Yeah, that also helps. That is very true.
But I don't know if the Stars are in the same position. If the Stars are 2-9-1, and you're saying don't fire DeBoer, I don't know if I would. I'd probably call for him.
It's a very different situation, Chris. Very, very different situation. Because Nil is a very capable GM, and for me, the wrong guy got fired. Truly. The guy that needs to be fired is Ken Holland, the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. It is 100% on him. And I'm a little surprised that, Oilers ownership allowed him to do this. If I was the Oilers ownership, he'd be fired. I mean, there's no doubt. Just the cap mismanagement, the fact that they're not handing out good contracts, they're not drafting well. And not to mention, you got 2 of the best players of our generation, and like consistently 1 and 2 in point getting, and you can't win the Stanley Cup with them.
Can't even get to the Stanley Cup with them.
Right.
So, yeah.
And really, what required them to even get to the conference finals was the fact that they just, McDavid basically broke his back carrying this team to the conference finals 2 years ago.
Well, that's what him and Draisaitl have done to this team ever since they've been on the team. The team has never been good. It's just about how ridiculous can McDavid and Draisaitl be.
So speaking of McDavid, obviously he has to be completely pissed. Has to be. And it's even been rumored in 32 Thoughts. I think it was Elliot Friedman came out and he said that he's just livid beyond all belief. And it's not like that McDavid is making an outrageous amount of money. Yeah, he's getting paid a lot of money to be the best player in the world, but he's the best player in the world.
Yeah, I mean, like, what do you want? You got the best player in the game. Do something with it.
They haven't gone out and gotten good players to surround Draisaitl and McDavid with, and it's 100% Ken Holland's fault. He's the guy that should be fired, not Jay Woodcroft.
And like that's partially true too. And then I think about, okay, how many players want to go and play in Edmonton? Okay, because it's the same place as Calgary. I mean, we know players do not like it very much there just because it's cold. Okay,
it sucks.
Partially true. And if you're going to play there as a 4th liner and get league minimum, you're going to go to a southern market. I mean,
I don't know, maybe, but see, Edmonton's got just so much history.
I think they both deserve to be fired. Both of them sucked.
Chris with the solution.
Yeah, he's just
GM
like,
hasn't built a good enough team. The coach had a team that did decent last year and is absolutely sucking now. They're both not doing their jobs.
Part of what I look at too, though, is like you look at their, like, I don't even know who their fourth liners are, but I mean, you've got to look at even some of the players that the Stars have let go in the past couple of years would probably be better fits on that team than what they have now.
Oh yeah, by a long shot.
so who are you specifically thinking of, James?
I'm thinking of like the people that even like the Avalanche pick up regularly. I mean, the Av they have like 3 or 4 of our players who are all bottom 6 players that could all play for the Edmonton Oilers that are very solid defensively, which is exactly what the Oilers want. You need people who can play on the ice, who aren't going to give up a ton of goals. And then your 2 stars will score the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. So, I've seen this around a lot lately. I don't know if y'all have any like true things to say about this, but Ardell saying McDavid is the least marketable superstar ever. Any thoughts on that?
That's true of hockey players, man. Hockey players are just boring, like overall. Anytime you watch like a cool highlight video of them, like day in the life of Connor McDavid, they have that video, by the way, on YouTube. You can go look at it. He's just not a very charismatic fellow, and that is true of pretty much every hockey player ever. Like maybe Tyler Seguin is an exception. A little bit of Pavelski whenever he decides to talk.
Matthew Shane's pretty nice. He had a really nice interview the other night.
Yeah, I heard he's a good interview, according to Saad Youssef at least. So, but
still, I think hockey players are trained even more than other sports to just shut up, don't talk, and don't draw attention. And I think that's partially because of how much of a team sport it really is. Like, even in football, there's more people on that team, but there are definitely certain players that rise far and above everybody else that are much more important. And a hockey team, I mean, everyone's going to be on the ice at some point. Everyone's going to play. You're not having bench riders in the NHL. That doesn't exist.
Not anymore, especially now, because everybody has to be able to skate. Everybody has to be able to play. If he can throw hands down and fight, great. That's an added bonus. But you better be able to skate. And we're seeing that with Ryan Reeves in Toronto right now. He's getting benched for other players. So this was kind of interesting over here too. I think it was Zach. Okay. Yeah. So the real question is, does bust mean a new team? Talking about Connor McDavid. Is this it? Is this because we've been talking. The national media especially has been talking about the fact that they're surprised that Connor McDavid is still in Edmonton at this point. So is this like the final straw for Connor McDavid? And he says, you know what? Screw you guys. I'm done. Trade me. Because it worked out for Eichel pretty well.
Part of the problem is that there's even less space than there was when Eichel was traded, and that was some shenanigans to get Eichel over in
shenanigans is the correct word.
It was a trade that happened. That is what happened. And I think it's more likely that they're just gonna say no, and because that's the player that you've built around for the past, or tried to build around. I was about to say, like they did a terrible job of it. But they tried to build around for years. I mean, also part of the problem is you still have. I mean, we're 15 games in. You have the rest of the season still. If the Oilers played like they did last year, and like end of last year, then they can get back into a playoff spot. They can at least, like, they're not going to be like first, second in the division probably, but they can. I can see them making it to third in the division or wild card spot very easily. And if you're getting into the playoffs at the end, it only matters what happens in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't think they would trade him, but Gretzky got traded twice, so you never know.
Ardell's asking, so Connor McDavid's cap hit is $12.5 million. That's quite a bit.
but
But
not
again-
crazy for the guy that's far and away the best player.
Exactly. And that's
He's
what
a
I was,
million
that was gonna be my
more-
next thing.
$1 million, $2 million more than other top players, and he's like 30 points better than the other top players.
Also,
So-
if the season really is going bad and McDavid wants out and you're not going to retain him, then you might retain cap hit to get even more picks. I mean,
I don't think they do it.
because if McDavid's going, you're going into full rebuild, dude. Like no chance.
How weird would that be? The Oilers trade Gretzky and then they trade McDavid.
I know, right? Wouldn't that be insane? You get two of the greatest players probably that anybody's ever seen, and they trade both.
That is crazy.
The only difference is that Gretzky won like 5 cups with the
before
the
he
Oilers.
got traded.
Yeah, and McDavid will probably win 0, honestly. So
Will win 0.
okay, last question about this because I thought this was interesting. Because I think it might have been Josh who brought this up on Facebook, the Jake Ottinger Fan Club and Hockey Talk group. What would it take for the Dallas Stars to trade for Connor McDavid, assuming he, like everybody, waives their no move clause? Let's just assume that. What do you think it would take to get McDavid in Victory Green?
Yeah, just for the hee-hees and the ha-has, right?
Yes, no, I don't want this at all. No, I don't. Well, I say that. Who wouldn't want to see Connor
mean-
McDavid in Victory Green? It'd be cool, but I don't think it would be worth the amount of cents you would have to go.
You're probably seeing Rope Hintz go back the other way at least. Because they're gonna want a center for a center, and you're probably seeing another elite prospect probably going, I assume, and then even probably a pick on top of that. Like, it's got to be at least. I'm thinking like Rope Hintz, and then one of your prospects, which could be like, I mean, Wyatt doesn't count as prospect, but he's in the young, realm. And then you have Stankoven, and then you have Bichel as well. And then probably like a first or a second as well, at least. Like that would be low end.
Yeah, I was going to say Rope, Wyatt, Bichel, first rounder.
See, if I'm the Oilers and I was looking at something like that, I would want Thomas Harley on top of Rope Hintz because their defense sucks.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
you go out, you take our best number 1 center in Hintz. You go out and you get a young defenseman as well, and then maybe even Stranges, and then a first round pick on top of that. That's something
way,
what I
wouldn't go
expect
for
on
Stranges.
that would never happen. So
it would never happen, but I just thought it would be interesting just to kind of discuss what it would take. It would never happen in a million years. Stars would never do that. The Oilers would never do that. So it's
Might do
moot
that.
point.
Jim Nill would never
Oilers
do
might
that.
do that, yeah.
Okay. Jim Nill is very much smarter than Ken Holland. So yes, I agree. Okay. Anyway, moving on from Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. So one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about tonight was this is right now Matt Duchene's team, and we're all just fans of his team. Really is what it is right now. He is by far the best player on this team right now. And even Pete DeBoer himself came out recently and said, I would be lying if I said this is what I expected from Matt Duchene this early in the season. So when we picked him up, is this what you expected from Matt Duchene? Is this better? Is this? I mean, what do y'all think?
Tough question, man.
Yeah.
No, I think he's way better than we all expected him to be. We
Yeah.
thought he would be a third line center and would score more than your average third line center, but I think that's about it for our expectations for him. And he's definitely playing a guy with a chip on his shoulder. He's upset that the Preds bought him out, and he is proving a point this year, and he is embarrassing the Predators, and it is helping us.
Yeah. And our centers as a whole are doing ridiculous right now. I mean, you
They're
go
all
look
centers.
at you go look at you go look at Rope, Duchesne, and Johnston. They're 3, 4, 5 in points for this team. I mean, they are doing ridiculously well, and Duchesne is definitely the one springboarding both Sagan and Marchment. I mean, and we both know, like, we know they both had this talent in them. We know that they could score, and it just wasn't happening. It wasn't working. And Duchesne comes in, and it's just giving them enough space and making great passes for them and setting them up perfectly. And it's starting to come back his way now too, with Sagan passing back to him. Marchment did it the other night as well off the boards. I mean, he's really jump started both Sagan and Marchment.
He is truly the catalyst on that line. And it's no offense to Tyler Sagan. It's just he has never been the same since his hip surgery. So that I can't blame him for that at all. The fact that he came back from a surgery like that and he's still able to play at such a high level as he is amazing. So, but you got the feeling that once he came back, that explosiveness, that ability to deke, to make the moves, to be able to put himself in prime locations, set himself up for big time offensive plays was no longer there. Now, that does not mean, however, though, that good, high quality skill players don't play well with good, high quality skill players. And they just needed somebody else who could come in, and it might just be a mercenary play for a year, 1 year for $3 million. We'll see what happens next year. But this is 100% exactly what the Stars needed on that line. And he has been an absolute amazing fit for the Dallas Stars. Way better than anyone expected. One thing I wanted to ask about him and our center depth at this point. When you look at the center depth of the Dallas Stars right now, if you look down the middle, we got Rope Hintz. You've got Wyatt Johnston. You've got Matt Duchesne. And you've got Radek Faksa. My question to you is, does this make the Dallas Stars the best team down the center? Because there's only one other team I can think of that might be able to challenge.
Yeah, well, they've also got like 3 other centers too, though. I mean,
yeah, there's another set of centers on those. I mean, you have Pavelski centers, Ben centers, and Sagan centers, and those are our veteran guys. They all were centers before and could center, and now they're on the wing. I mean, the team's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Can y'all guess the one team that I'm thinking of that might be able to rival the Stars center depth?
The Kings, maybe.
Good, good. James would read my mind. I mean, you've got Anze Kopitar, you've got Philip Deneau, who is an amazing two-way player. He like,
what does he do?
Wade came out of nowhere and just exploded for like 30 goals last year or 2 years ago. I forget which one it was. And then you've also got Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's ridiculous. That those 3 down the center. I can only think of that. And when the Oilers are good, the Oilers, because you've got McDavid, Draisaitl, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who is also ridiculous. But man, it's so much fun to be a Dallas Stars fan right now. This is so exciting to be able to say that Matt Duchesne is a member of the Dallas Stars, and he's flying. It's amazing to watch. And I hope that he continues and he re-signs with the Stars. Although, what do y'all think the likelihood is that he signs an extension January 1st?
Low.
I think so too.
I mean, you can like a place a lot, but when you look at the money he's making right now, and you look at how many points he already has.
Yeah, say no to $3 more million.
Yeah. Double your salary anywhere else right now.
The only thing I can think of is the fact that he is in a very good situation right now. And he's also, and this is not a slight to him at all. It's just where he's at. He's not playing on the top line. He's playing against lesser competition. So that would be an argument. That would be an argument from other teams talking to him if he says, I want $7 million next year.
Yeah, but you look at what Kadri did with the Avalanche. He's a second line center, and then he goes and gets paid in Calgary. I mean, it feels like the same type of situation, at least scoring wise, and what they're making.
I think he'll pretty easily get $7 million if he finishes the season the way he's started it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. What do you think? Do you think he gets 7 million, or do you think he gets more?
I think he gets 8. I think he gets more than
3 by
7.
7.
I'm going over on the 7.
I think I would go over too, also, because next year the cap is supposed to skyrocket.
If we're saying over under on the 7, I would take the over.
Yeah,
especially when we're on a 4-game winning streak and he's scored on all 4.
and
Call me biased.
12 points in the last 9 games,
something like that.
Something like that.
He has a lot of points.
All right. Let's move on. I kind of want to talk about the Sharks a little bit because it's downright sad. I actually legit, after the second game, when they let in 10 goals, I legit went and watched the entire game because I never thought I would see something like this ever again. Like 2 games back to back, you allowed 20 goals. That's ridiculous. The Stars allowed 20 goals probably in like half the games, or like 12 of the games this season. Nonetheless, 2. So, and while I was watching the game, it kind of occurred to me, I don't think I've ever seen a worse team in my lifetime watching hockey. And I've watched a lot of hockey, and there have been some really bad teams. What is that true? What do y'all think?
They just don't have anyone on their roster, man. Like you look at their roster and you're like, who do they have? And I look at them like, okay, they have LeBanc or LeBanc, however you want. I think it's LeBanc, right? That's the only player that I can remember other than Blackwood's name right now, because he's stolen 2 games for them. And that's the 2 games they won. Like they have, like, if the goaltender doesn't win the game for them, they lose.
Yeah,
That's absolutely true.
I mean, we kind of joke about it, but it's seriously kind of getting to the point where it's embarrassing at this point, like, for the NHL. I mean, if this team like legitimately wins 8 games this year, that's not going to look good. And I think the tanking problem is kind of,
it's by design. It's totally by design. I mean, this team.
Okay, but
the worst part is they were expecting them
to be this bad. Yeah,
they did nothing.
They
did nothing to make their team better, and they were the worst team in the league last year. And everyone else in the league got better. Every team that was not good last year is playing better than they were last year. Besides the San Jose Sharks.
And maybe Columbus.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like at some point you need to find a way to punish teams who are intentionally trying to lose. I don't know exactly how you would do that, but
in the salary cap era, that's legit how you win Stanley Cups. It feels like is you tank for a couple of years,
that
you
is
get some really good prospects, and then you go and win Stanley Cups.
That is definitely correct. I don't think we should be incentivizing intentionally losing, and that's what it does.
My bigger problem with this is that they don't have to be this bad. I mean, they could have another player or 2 that are just free agent pickups and still be the worst team in the league by far. I mean, it's not even close. It's not even a question. The only team that was competing for the bottom with them was the Edmonton Oilers, who we know are not that bad.
And they're not.
And on top of all of it, the San Jose Sharks center ice logo is absolutely atrocious. It's a shark.
That's the thing, Chris is. That's the thing that Chris is focusing on is the center ice logo.
I mean,
yeah, so Zach brings up $7 million in dead cap space is what they have. Maybe you punish that if you have excessive cap space not being used. your percentage in the draft lottery drops or something. Because I mean,
Do you
I
want
don't
them
know.
to pay to have a bad team?
I'd rather them pay to have a bad team. Yes, I think. I mean, if you're gonna suck, you at least have to pay all the money to suck. I don't know. It just it rubs me the wrong way. The intentional losing, and it becomes more and more blatantly obvious in all sports too. This isn't just a hockey thing. We talked about it, the Mavs actually last year on this podcast. I don't know
Yeah.
why I even remember that, but the Mavs intentionally lost last year for a better draft spot, and that just it sucks for a competitive thing, for a competitive advantage to intentionally lose.
I don't get it. I really don't. I didn't see this team being this bad, and yet they are. So, and Mackenzie Blackwood is the only thing that's even remotely giving them some hope of winning some games. So, you're absolutely right when you said that, James. So, anyway, moving on from that. I'm tired of talking about this, but people keep asking me about it. Patrick Kane is not coming to the Dallas Stars. Okay, he's not coming to the Dallas Stars. It doesn't make sense. We have talked about this for a really long time now. I'm tired of talking about it, but it keeps getting mentioned. It even came out this week that he's looking at Eastern Conference teams. So he's not looking at Western Conference teams, which last time I checked, the Dallas Stars are a Western Conference team. So, I mean, I'm tired of talking about this. Thoughts on that?
It's dead. I'm sad that it's dead because I think that'd be fun, but whatever.
Who would he play with?
It just
On the
doesn't
fourth
make
line?
sense.
I don't care. I want Patrick Kane.
No. You want the name Patrick Kane. You don't want the current Patrick Kane.
He's still pretty good.
I don't doubt that, but we don't need him.
He'd play on the fourth line.
He would legit play on the fourth line right now, or
no,
he would
take Marchman's spot.
I don't think he would.
No.
I think he would.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, okay. Anyways, what I wanted to do is I got a couple more things. Before I get to those, congratulations, Ken Hitchcock, for being a official member of the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, congratulations to him. Fourth most winningest head coach in NHL history, which I believe it was over 800. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's over 800. I think it's like 826 or something.
That's crazy.
That was ridiculous. And he was successful at every level. And he is enshrined in Dallas, obviously, because right now he is the only coach that has ever led the Dallas Stars to a Stanley Cup final and to a Stanley Cup final win. So,
that's true.
To a final win?
No, the first part you said. We have been led to the final by our main man, Bony Bones.
Please don't ever say that again.
What? Bony Bones?
I was not expecting that, but yes, Chris. Yes, Chris. But moving on from that before it gets any weird. Bony Bones. Okay.
Bony Bones.
Bony Bones. We gotta talk about the special teams too, because the Dallas Stars special teams has just kind of come alive this past week. Literally a week ago, we were talking about on some of the AGRs that this team was winning despite their mostly their power play upsettedness and how much it's sucked. And then a week later, it's like all is forgiven, and the Stars are mid-pack with their power play percentage now. So,
yep. Last week, our sarcastic remarks title of the episode was "Are the Stars bad?" And right after that episode, they won 4 straight. So I think the power play got fixed.
I think the Dallas Stars must have listened to y'all's episode.
They're probably not bad.
They're also only the 6th team ever to score 7 special team goals in one game.
That's still ridiculous.
Hanging in the rafters.
So, what do the Stars need to do to continue with their power play? What's something they need to focus on?
Give
not thinking. Think less, please. It's been working.
Yes. I also like Chris's answer. Just give the puck to Matt Duchene. Yes, I agree. Should we, with that second unit doing so well, do you put the guys who are doing really well in the second unit on the top unit and mix around the units just to try and get the other unit going as well?
No.
It's more worth it to try and get the top unit going than it is to take the obvious advantage of our second unit being better than them right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how many goals the second unit has scored
I think
compared
it's
to the
about
first
even
unit.
now because
Really?
Robo got 2 in that 5 minute.
Oh well, that's a little cheating a little bit, but
I'm pretty sure it's about even now.
It's still even because,
but still, even is good for a second unit.
Yeah, second unit not supposed to be even.
Well, and that's very in direct contrast to last season when it seemed like the only unit that scored for the Dallas Stars was the top unit. It was like 70% of their power play goals.
Because the top unit ended most of our power plays in 30 seconds.
That's true.
Or less.
Or less.
So I would just like to see that top unit. I think the thing I want to see them do more is just be more crisp with their passing as they try to get into their zone. Their zone entries are not very good. And when I watch the second unit,
passing is the problem, Ryan. Honestly.
Stop.
Like, so if Miro just skates in, half the time he's gonna make it in there untouched.
I think it's more than half, honestly.
Well, I don't know.
I feel like when we get in the zone on that first unit, they pass themselves out of chances. I mean, it happens. Even like Robo, I feel like is very guilty of it early on in the season, where he was passing himself out of chances on the power play. I mean, he's sitting high slot with the puck, and he passes it back to Miro like the entire power play, and I'm sitting there just shoot. You did that like 20,000 times last year, and half of them went in.
Ain't that the truth? But I don't know. I just really like the second unit, and again, maybe it's just because we talked about him so much lately, but when Duchene gets the puck, he seems just to be a step quicker than the penalty killers. And that's something that we saw Hintz do a whole bunch last year, and I just haven't seen him do it as much this season as we did last season. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it's just a confidence thing.
I have no data to back it up. It's just a feeling.
Yeah, I think it's just a confidence thing. It's gonna come. I mean, they need it. It's already started. I mean, the first unit is starting to catch up because the second unit was definitely ahead of them 2 weeks ago, and now it's already even. So they're starting to catch up, and they're gonna get going. And I foresee no issues.
Yeah. I think specifically about the Robo Hen slap shot that we witnessed the other night. Like he created that and then got open and then whack.
So I think the other thing that will really help the power play to continue clicking like it has been is the faceoff percentage. The faceoff percentage has been getting better over the last 4 games, and there was that 2 or 3 or 4 game stretch where we actually lost the faceoff percentage battle, which is weird.
Yeah,
especially for the Dallas Stars.
Last 3 games were like 60-40.
Yes, exactly. We have completely dominated the faceoff dot as of late in the last 3-4 games. So I think that's a big factor too.
Power play goals, second unit has 3, first unit has 7.
Does not feel like that.
It does
It
not.
doesn't feel like that. Pavelski has 2, Robo has 2, Hintz has 3.
Quit making us look dumb, James.
I'm just saying.
Next segment.
It really doesn't feel that way, though. It really doesn't.
I think it's just because of how much they scored last year, honestly. But
maybe that's it.
New segment. I feel dumb.
The I feel dumb segment. Okay. So what I want to kind of do with the last little bit of time we have remaining tonight before we get into our Who Cares segment, I kind of want to look at the standings across the NHL because a lot of pundits in the NHL, they look at American Thanksgiving as like a checkpoint. Normally, if you are in a playoff spot at the checkpoint, American Thanksgiving, you're going to make the playoffs in April. That's just a given thing. I think the percentage on it is 73%.
Did
Like
you know that
73.
94.7% of statistics are made up?
Yes, I did know that. I did know that. But so I wanted to look at it because there's a lot of interesting things on right now in the standings. A lot of teams we did not expect to be in the top 16 playoff teams. Teams that are way below. We already talked about Edmonton, but Edmonton's not the only one. So what I kind of want to do is I just want to I'll briefly go through each of the divisions, and then I just want y'all to just give me your thoughts on anything that pops into your head when we go over this division. So let's just talk about the Atlantic first. So in the Atlantic Division, first place, Boston Bruins, 26 points. Panthers with 21 in second.
Wow.
And then the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs are tied with 18, tied for third. The Lightning come in with the Canadiens at fourth, tied for fourth. And then the Sabres are down there with 15 at seventh. And the Senators are in dead last in their division with eighth. So lots of surprises there, but I'll let y'all have the floor first on what you want to talk about with this division.
By far the best division. We knew that going into the season, and it's proven by how close 3 through 7 are. Honestly, 3 through 8. Ottawa's not out of it at all yet. I mean, they're still right there. So I didn't expect Detroit to be at the top of that ladder. I probably expected them to be kind of where Montreal is now, and I didn't expect Montreal to be as high as they are now. But it really is fully up for grabs. This is going to be the most entertaining division to watch throughout the season because there's going to be crazy up and down swings constantly. And I think it's going to be super fun to watch down the stretch.
Yeah. And unfortunately for playoff picture, that's going to mean that they're probably not going to get 2 from that division just because it's so strong. I mean, points got to go somewhere. You play half your games against your division. So
yeah, you're right.
Tough.
Still, my biggest surprise in this division is the Boston Bruins. I mean, it shouldn't be because they did it last year when I said they were going to fall off, and they're doing it again, and they don't have Bergeron or Krejci.
Them being number 1, not surprising. Them having 1 loss in regulation, very surprising.
You're not surprised that they're first in the division.
No, I said they'd be first.
No, there's no way.
Go back. I
am beyond shocked that they are first in the division right now. Because I expected
you don't go from the best season ever to a bad team. Doesn't matter how many people
you don't go
lose,
from losing a 8-time or 9-time Selke trophy to just being being first in the division.
They were
you lost one of the best players.
Best regular season team in history. All time.
I didn't see it. There was no way that I saw this coming, but
well, that's just because you're dumb.
Maybe I am. But the Maple Leafs being not in the lead surprises me a lot, just because it's the regular season and they're a good regular season team. Oh my gosh, that's not what it's always about the Toronto love with you guys.
I thought they would be top 3 for sure. I thought they were a lock there, and they still might be. It's just a toss-up.
Technically, they're tied for third.
Yeah.
So the only reason why they don't have, I'm guessing why they're fourth is because of regulation wins. But anyways, anything else?
It's not regulation wins. They have the exact same record. It's goal diff. Just want to prove that I'm right there.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyways, moving on to the Metro. Less surprises here compared to other divisions. Rangers number 1 with 23 points. Capitals with 18, second place. Hurricanes with 18, third place. Flyers in fourth place with 17. Penguins with 16. The Devils with 15. The Islanders with 13. And the Blue Jackets with 12. So less surprises in this division for me, you guys. But I think the biggest surprise for me is probably how bad the Devils have been playing as of late. I really thought they were going to have a stronger start to the season than they have. and they're literally only one game above NHL 500 right now. So I expected them to have like the same record as the Stars. That's how high I was on the Devils.
I'm kind of more surprised by this division than I am by the Atlantic. The Capitals being as high as they are, especially with the start to their season, is kind of nuts. Carolina not being number one is crazy. They've been number one for like, I think 4 years in that division. They've kind of locked it down, and they've had a rough start, which would really not be cool for them. It's felt like they've been taking baby steps for the past 8 years, and this.
But I mean, you lost twice in the conference finals. You got swept.
Yeah,
not just lost twice, you got swept.
You take a step back from that. If you take a step back from that, I mean,
regular season versus playoffs, though. I mean, you're talking true. Like maybe it's the slower start now helps them later. I don't know.
Maybe they need to not be first in the division. Yeah.
Maybe they need the underdog feeling, you know?
The Philadelphia Flyers, as of today, are in the playoffs. That is shocking.
They have played 2 more games than a majority of the teams in that division, though. They have played 16 games.
Still, the fact that you can say 14. The Philadelphia Flyers are in the playoffs is a miracle.
It won't last.
It won't.
That's the one team that I am sure it will.
I think they're playing very well right now for the Philadelphia Flyers. They have 2 games in hand, and they're still only 1 point in the wild card.
The problem isn't really the Flyers, I don't think, either. It's the teams they're above right now. I mean, they're above New Jersey, they're above Pittsburgh, and they're above the New York Islanders. I mean, those are all teams that are super, super strong, definitely have at least more skill in talent in almost every position than the Flyers, and all kind of expected to make the playoffs, and none of them are in right now.
Get rocked. Poor Philadelphia, man. You just did them dirty.
The Islanders actually kind of surprised me a little bit. I don't see them as a top 3 team in that division, but I still saw them as a playoff team, just because how well they've played defensively. But I was looking at their record, and I was just like, why are they so low? Well, they're 3-5-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
And as of the time of this recording, they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah, shocker. When your team can't score in the new league model where everyone's scoring like 4 or 5 goals a night at least, you can't win.
Right.
Weird.
Well, and it also doesn't help that Sorokin has not been like other world beater this year either. So he has not been as good as he has been in the past. So okay. Moving on to Pacific. Yes? No?
Oh, yeah. We're the leaders of this show, so yes, let's do that.
I'm just asking. I'm trying to be polite here, guys. Okay. Anyways.
Who are you talking to?
Y'all?
Polite?
Yes, polite. Chris knows nothing of the word polite. Anyways, the Golden Knights are first in this division with 25 points. They're 12-3-1. They're showing no signs of a Stanley Cup hangover.
Shocker.
In my opinion, the biggest surprise in the NHL right now, second place, the Vancouver Canucks, 11-3-1, 23 points. They are 2 points behind the Vegas Golden Knights right now. Yep. The Kings are at third with 19. The Ducks are at fourth with 18. Again, Kraken with 13, the Flames with 12, the Oilers with 9, and the Sharks with 5. This is by far the most surprising division and where everybody is. I know that I was like, the Atlantic is surprising to me. This is by far bizarro land when it comes to the Pacific. I did not see this coming.
Yeah, probably most people had 2 through 4 and 5 through 7 fully flipped in this division. I think that would be like the consensus vote there. But when I look at the Canucks, it's almost more surprising how bad they did last season than how good they did this season. You look at the roster, how did they do that bad last year? It doesn't make any sense. Their team is really good.
It's their defense, man. They revamped their defense this past offseason. That's been
part
the
of
big
it.
thing they did.
That's part of it, but they revamped it because Demko was hurt last year, and he got hurt, and they couldn't do anything.
And
I mean,
he is
getting hurt
out of his mind right now.
Yeah, him getting hurt exposed the weakness that they always had, and they fixed the weakness, and now he's back, and he's not hurt.
Well, and you could keep going down the list with some of these other teams. The Kings are bizarre. Okay, so get this. I didn't even know this until I watched the Hockey Guys video. They're 7-0 on the road, and they're 1-3-3 at home.
They can't
That
win
is
at home, and they
freaking
win every game on the
bizarre.
road.
That is weird. So weird. Like even if you take like those 3 overtime losses and like you have 1 win, like 2 wins of those, and then you take 2 of those become 2 wins, one becomes a loss. It's still not it's still 3-4, and they're 7-0 at home or on the road, excuse me. So I just thought that was bizarre when he pointed that out. I was just like, wow. Did not see that coming. And then again, just as surprising as the Vancouver Canucks, and fourth is the Ducks. My preacher is having so much fun right now because he's a Ducks fan, and they're in a playoff spot, and it's American Thanksgiving.
You say it's surprising, but like this happened last year too. They held on to a playoff spot till like December, and then they just were like, "Nope, trade people away, team goes down." I mean, their
this
team
feels
is good.
very different. This feels very different.
I mean, it felt different last season too, and then they traded everyone away. I mean, if they don't trade people away this year, then they can hold on to it, maybe. But that's barring like Edmonton, Seattle keeping their awful state and not getting any better.
Yeah, and Anaheim is a team with talent, and it's young talent that can get even better. So it's like exponential potential for the Ducks. I feel like they could randomly just do even better than they're doing now, and they could also just fully fall off a cliff. That's just what's so fun about having a young team like this, and that's what makes them so exciting. They've got some exciting players too.
It's kind of how New Jersey is running right now too.
Agree.
One of the biggest disappointments, other than the Edmonton Oilers, who we already talked about, is the Kraken. I kind of jumped on their bandwagon after our playoff series with them last spring, and I was really excited to watch a couple of games of theirs when the Stars weren't playing, and they have just, it's been so inconsistent. They can't get any goal scoring. They were the best 5-on-5 team when it came to scoring last year, and they're it's like bottom third. They can't even get a goal to save their life. So just another team very similar to the Edmonton Oilers that you just didn't see this happening to this team.
I mean, this one's at least a little bit more predictable, though. I mean, they rely on their depth scoring, and that's a pretty fecal thing for most teams in this league. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of teams have a solid first line that all can score like 30 goals in a season, because most of the time it's needed. I mean, it's nice to get the goals from the people lower in the lineup, but it's not expected. And for most teams, it's almost never expected. I mean, last season we expected nothing from our fourth line at all, and we got like, I think 15 goals altogether from it, which like
pretty good,
pretty solid.
That's decent.
This kind of completes the trend for me for teams that are like kind of try and break the mold of what a successful NHL team is, and they fail. I mean, the Kraken, there's not a solid top line. They're trying to get goals from everywhere, and now they're getting goals from nowhere, and they've got no one to lean on to kind of pull them through it. Minnesota tries to play physically and beat the crap out of you, and they also can't kill the penalties that they always take. So they're down in the dumps as well. New York Islanders try and play a lockdown defensive style, clean game, don't make any mistakes, take advantage of your opportunities. They're at the depths of their thing too. So it's just these teams that are trying to break the style are getting pushed out now. The NHL is kind of forcing a certain game plan on these teams, is what it seems like.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at just stats wise, the year they had last year, they had 5 20 goal scorers. How many teams have 5 20 goal scorers ever?
Not many.
I still remember, was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago that St. Louis had like 9?
Yep.
That was stupid.
It was 6 for the Kraken last year.
That's weird.
Stars crazy 6 this year.
You could easily see that. So, okay, we're running out of time, so let's move on to the Central. Central is probably the most predictable. and about where we kind of expected it. Stars first with 23, the Avs with 18, second place. The Jets, a little bit of a surprise, but we still kind of expected them to be a playoff team with 18.
The Blues are the surprise for me right now.
The Blues have been making a little bit of a comeback lately. They've been playing well. They're fourth with 17. The Yotes are being very competitive. They're not the same Coyotes they used to be. Fifth in the division with 16. The Wild, who I love to see at sixth place. Screw y'all. Sorry, no offense, but yes, you should take offense. With 12 points and sixth place, and then the Blackhawks and the Predators are in the dumps with seventh and eighth, with both 10 points apiece. So, not much to talk about here, to be honest with you. We sort of kind of expected to maybe see the Wild jump off a little bit. Maybe not this egregious, especially with the way they played against the Stars on Tuesday. The Coyotes, we expected them to be better based off of the players that they signed. The fact they got Logan Cooley to actually come over and play with them this year. The Jets were able to keep Hellebuck and Scheifele, so we still kind of expected them to kind of be in the hunt for maybe the top three, because really it's the Avs and the Stars division, and right now it's just the Stars division. So thoughts from the Central?
I'm shocked at how bad Nashville is, and there's really only one reason. It's Saros has sucked. He's had a terrible start to the year. He's been super bad.
And that's true. That has been weird. That has been very weird.
And he can bounce back and get that team up to fifth easily.
Yeah. And I probably would have put them in Minnesota in the spots where the Jets and the Blues are to start the season. But, oh well.
I would have flipped the Blues and the Coyotes with Minnesota and Predators. That's what I would have done. I expected the Jets because, well, y'all both thought that they were getting. Well, y'all thought that Hellebuck wasn't staying either. So
at the time,
that was when they were still. Yeah, that was when they were still rumored that they were going to leave, and y'all guessed that they were going to leave, and I guess they weren't.
Got it right.
Got lucky.
But, well, and it was, speaking of goalies who have not been playing very well, it's not just Saros, but despite Hellebuck not playing very well this season, he's been below his average. The Jets have been playing very well. I mean, they have. They really have. And then, oh my gosh. And then over in Blues land, last person I expected to have a good bounce back season is Jordan Binnington. Binnington has been pretty solid for the St. Louis Blues this season. So, I mean, just a
guy.
He stands sometimes.
He does stand sometimes. All right.
And he punches other times.
Who cares?
Not me.
Not me. All right. We're doing top Sonic drinks that can be acquired from the Sonic restaurant.
Well, hold on. We got to say where we got this idea from. James, you want to say where we got this idea from?
We got this idea from our Discord server that we have. There's a little channel where you can suggest Who Cares segments. I believe it was who was it? I think it was. No, give me a second. I'm getting there.
I'm going to stall for some time now.
It's from Zebo.
Zebo.
Like Z-Bo.
Nice.
Like bow and arrow.
Like Expo, but Zebo.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a gazebo, which don't know if that's intended or not. But
there you go.
But you can suggest Who Cares segments on the Discord, so y'all should go join that.
Boom. James, number 3rd.
Really not prepared for this. What constitutes as a drink? Something you can drink through a straw, or like
through a straw.
Okay, so that was something I was thinking about, because Ardell puts this up, and I'm like, oh crap, does that count?
Yeah, I didn't think about it. Did he?
I mean, we can take this how you want.
I wasn't thinking this. I was thinking specifically fountain drinks or like teas.
You think of it how you want to think of it, is what I'm going to say. I went that way as well. I went with liquids.
Okay, then I'll follow you.
Like, for sure, liquids. I guess a shake could be argued as a liquid. I went with no doubt about it, liquids.
Okay, all right. Well, okay. So Maddo's got a good point over here too. What about like a blue raspberry nerd slush?
That's up to you. That is up to the eye of the beholder on this one. I'm
Okay.
deferring to the chooser.
Okay. All
Okay,
right. Sorry,
so
James. Go ahead.
so my number third, I'm gonna. Do they have ocean water slushes? I can't remember for the life.
Yeah, they do.
I
Yeah,
think
they
they
do.
do. That will be my number third for sure.
Good choice. I like that one.
Ryan, number third.
So I used to work for Sonic when I was a teenager. So I have had numerous random drink combinations. One of my favorite ones I ever tried, and it's actually fairly basic. It's literally just a shot of cherry, a shot of cranberry, and Sprite. That's it.
Sprite cranberry.
Yeah, it was.
Cranberry.
It was something about. I guess it was the sweetness of the cherry and the tartness of the cranberry that really made me like it. So
Sweet.
that's my number three.
Tart? So we should make a candy like that. All right.
Oh my
My
God.
number third. I'm
Chris
going
is
with the
on
classic.
tonight.
This is this is probably underranked for a lot of y'all, but it's kind of high up there for me. Cherry limeade. Cherry limeade is number third.
Basic.
Chris. Yes, basic. Basic start. It deserves to be on there in some capacity because of its prestige. James, number second.
My number second, I'm gonna go with blue coconut slush. Blue coconut slush. Very good. Very basic. I don't go to Sonic very much, honestly.
Who
But,
decided
you know.
coconuts are blue? You know?
It's because
That's
it looks
true.
cooler, you know?
Fair enough. All right, Ryan, number second.
Like I wonder where the whole blue raspberry thing started, because raspberries aren't even blue; they're pink or red or whatever.
It's a made-up flavor, actually.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like where it started.
Ryan, number second.
Ryan, number second.
Okay,
Please.
my number two is
Nope.
it's
I don't want you number two.
Shut up, Chris.
Number second.
It's a made up drink, and it's not on the menu or anything. It's something that was popular in Farmersville. It's called a
Secret
Purple
menu.
O.
Oh.
All right. So the Purple O, it had a shot of lemonade, shot of Powerade, shot of cranberry, and Sprite was like the main drink. And yes, it did turn purple, and yes, it was really good. So Purple O is my number two.
My whole list is kind of basic. My number two is an ocean water, basic ocean water. If you are on,
It's my number
Man.
four. That I almost picked it over my number three.
you got a hot day, a hot, crispy day outside, no wind. It's just downtrodden. You are sitting in your own filth. The best cure is a large, not the Route 44. The large is the best size. The Route 44 is too big. You need a large ocean water, and that will just cure you fully and completely.
It's
What
very
is an ocean water?
refreshing.
Mr. Sonic, what's an ocean water? What is an ocean water?
Explain for us.
You know, it's literally all it is. It's Sprite with blue coconut. That's it.
Ha, that sucks. I wish it was cooler than that. I kind of like it less now. James, number first.
Okay. My number
Sorry to
first
burst your bubble.
was already mentioned in the chat. Y'all even already pulled it up. It's the blue raspberry slush with nerds in it.
That is a great choice.
Good choice.
It is a great choice.
Very good choice.
It's
yes.
it's especially the nerds thing. When it first was introduced, I was fully not on board. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
like
gonna
you're
crunch
gonna-
my
you're gonna-
drink.
Really?
Well, I thought I was gonna like choke on it. Like,
But I didn't think
I
the
was
Sonic
freaking not
slush-
joking.
you already crunch a Sonic slush. So now you're just making the crunchy Sonic slush crunchier. Genius.
And sugarier. Sugarier.
I'm
tired. I need to go to sleep. Please end it.
Sugar.
Please end it.
All right.
Right, number first.
All right. I since I did not go basic on my other two, I will go basic on my number one, and it has to be a Dr. Pepper with cherry and vanilla in it.
No way. That's what I picked too.
Amazing. Yes.
It is so good. Yeah, my whole list was pretty basic.
Like it's the greatest drink in the world. And the best thing about it is though, and I figured this out working for Sonic when I was a teenager, but if you get a large drink, like you said, Chris, the large drinks seem to be better for some reason than the Route 44s. It just mixes better.
They are.
And if instead of doing a large shot of cherry and a large shot of vanilla in your Dr. Pepper like that, if you just do a medium shot, it tastes way better.
I'll have to try
It's
it.
not like it's like not overwhelming. I promise you. It's something that I legit tried and it just tastes way better.
I just love that their flavors are so good. The cherry flavor is just especially cherry-y. The vanilla is even more
Vanilla
vanilla
E.
y. It's just perfect. It's the best place to get a cherry vanilla Dr. Pepper, which is the best type of Dr. Pepper.
It is. I love Sonic.
That's it. Thanks to Zebo for the suggestion on the Discord. You can join the Discord somewhere. I'm sure it's on our social media. We'll post it again. Check it out.
It's on our X page, and it's also in the there's a link in the description in every single episode that we put out wherever you listen to your podcast.
Links
So
in the description.
it
Boom.
it is there. It's on I think the only place I'm still working on getting it on is on YouTube. For some reason YouTube's being stupid. But it's on Google Podcasts, it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. So anyways, guys, anything else you got for tonight?
Nope.
I
Time
think
to
that's
sleep.
it. Okay. All right. So, like we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we are going to start doing our weekly, if you want to call it a 1-hour episode, starting on Sunday nights. We haven't quite picked a time yet, but it's not going to be nearly as late as these episodes are.
Y'all
So we're
might
probably
have
looking at
noticed
like
we're a little tired tonight.
we will probably be looking like 6, 7, probably no later than 8 o'clock. It would be my guess. Central time. Central time is kind of what
Yeah, we
we're
have to
looking at.
specify that now, thanks to James.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
James.
well, I always think it's Central Time anyway.
Understandable.
Dang
Very
it, Samantha. It's all Samantha's fault, actually, Christian. It's all her
Just
fault.
like the Discord is her fault.
Yeah, she is the one that said she and you both did a very good job on that. So thank you for doing
Women.
All her fault.
Anyways, guys, thank y'all for listening. We appreciate it. Go in, check out sarcasticremarks.com for all the latest info. Go and check out sarcasticremarksshop.com. That's the best way to support us and what we do. Please leave us a 5-star review anywhere you listen to our podcast. Once again, thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook and to Raycon. Use that promo code THPN to get some special goodies and special services from them. And along with Chris and along with James, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side, and we hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening, and we will be back with you guys again on Saturday when the Dallas Stars take on the Colorado Avalanche. We'll see you guys later.